What's up guys, I'm Retro Yugioh. I'm back again for another video. Today I have my first placed Fire King deck profile. Pretty fun. I enjoyed playing the deck and it's going to get better. So we're in like a 2-week bubble. I pretty much played nothing but fire decks the entire tournament, except for the final round where I played against a Sprite deck, ironically, and I beat that deck or that player in time. However, probably would have just won through advantage if we had like another 5 minutes. So with that being said, we get into the deck list. So start off with the main deck here. Play one copy of Barong. I don't really love this card here, but it's still necessary to play when your hand is kind of mid. So you need it just like be that extra search target for follow up. It's kind of nice in that way, but it's going to be cut once the additional support comes in, but for now we play one. The best card probably was 3 copies of Avada. I loved this card whenever I was able to start with it. It was excellent, helps me play through hand traps, helps me stop my opponent, and there's also occasions where I would summon Avada, my opponent would activate a hand trap, I would chain Avada, and then I would chain Kieran in hand when they impermed it or veiled it, and then it would just resolve as that, and then bring both monsters back because Avada brings Kieran and Kieran brings Avada. So yeah, it was really good for that. Next was 3 copies of Ponix. Not much to say. I wanted to play maximum of this for consistency reasons, so I don't really feel like there's a reason to explain it, but yeah, it's the searcher of the deck. It makes the deck go. Another card is 3 Kieran. Kieran is probably the most important card for this deck because it helps you play on both players' turns. And then it also pops a card on resolution, non-targeting, which is excellent. So a lot of people don't understand that. Next one is 2 copies of Garunix. I didn't actually want to play 2 copies of this, but some people convinced me to play a second copy because if the first one gets crowed or soul release hit or banished in any way, and you don't have another one to actually play the game, so you play 2 to have access to first one and then always have access to a second one, in theory. And yeah, I also played the Snake Eyes card, so 1 Snake Eyes Ash and 1 Snake Eyes Flamebird's Dragon. Can't see that. 1 Snake Eyes Ash and 1 Snake Eyes Flamebird's Dragon. Not really much to say, but I know they get better post the support, but I wanted to play them due to the reasons that the deck is too mid without them. You don't really have a turn 1 combo play, so they're just adding a whole new ceiling to the deck when you play them. So yeah, that was pretty much it for them. Just play them. They give you the deck. They give the deck a ceiling, combo variant, and whatnot. It can be more susceptible to hand traps, but when you go off, you really go off. For the Sinful Spoils engine, we played 3 Black Witch. I know it's expensive, but you play them if you have them. I played 3 because I just always wanted to see the engine as much as possible. It's a broken engine, and when you see it, you generally win the game. Fortunately, 2 copies of Wanted because my third didn't arrive in the mail yet, so I should have it next week, but oh well. 1 original, but to make up for the third Wanted, played a 1-for-1 as well. I'd probably still play this if I had 3. It just means you have another like way to get to your combo starters, so I'd probably still play 1-for-1. Even post Finny, Phantom Nightmare, I'd probably still play it, just based off the simple reason that it's another starter card and it's essentially 1-card combo. Next, we have the 2 Fire King Islands, pretty standard. I played only 1 copy of the Fire King Sanctuary, so this might get a little bit of controversy, but my theory was that when you set up your board turn 1, this, after you resolve it to get the Fire King Island out, isn't necessary. I wasn't playing Garunix in the extra deck, and I felt like Garunix was just one of those interactions which you have to play it as your last interaction, otherwise you clear your own board of all your interactions. So, and by then, if you haven't beaten your opponent, you're probably losing, just because they've got enough advantage to play through your board. So it's like that card, while it seems good in theory, I just didn't think it was that necessary, so I only played 1 of this, and I never missed Garunix the entire night. I also played 1 Skyburn. I wasn't always playing this card because I think it's absolutely terrible when you go first. However, when you go for the Flamebirch combo, you always want to follow up search with Ponix, And if you already have Island out, it's terrible. But if you have Sanctuary up, you just don't need to search another Sanctuary for any reason. So you search the Skyburn to have a crackback follow up on your next turn. For the non-engine, we played 3 copies of Prosperity. I probably wouldn't play these going forward. They were terrible for me. What can I say? Every time I resolved Prosperity for 6, I was like losing the ability to grind. And then what would happen was I'd generally not have that utility in my extra deck, and I'd end up losing the game because of it. So I definitely wouldn't play Prosperity moving forward. 3 talents. Whenever it came up, it was great. Seeing the hand, drawing 2. Another thing about Prosperity is it does conflict with your draw combo, so you can't go for the Heat Soul line. And if you want to draw 2 with talents, it also conflicts there. So there's more reasons just not to play Prosperity in this list, I'd say. 3 copies of Ash. Not much to say. Ash is a fire. It's a hand trap. It's got the most coverage over all the matchups. 3 copies of Veiler for Rescue Ace or anything else. It's pretty generic, and it's nice that you draw them. You can use extra copies of them if you do. And then 3 Imperm because it doesn't play in a triple tax or Rust. Changes I'd make is definitely cut the Prosperity from the main deck, and then I'd probably play like another hand trap because I didn't feel like 9 was enough. That's it for the main. It's 40 cards. If I had the third wanted, it would be 41. For the extra deck, playing 1 Typhon. I like Typhon in this deck specifically because you play a lot on your opponent's turn. So yeah, Typhon's pretty good for those like combo wombo matchups where you just summon Typhon, freeze them out of the game, and then on your turn, all your monsters are under 3,000, so you can just go off, set up Avada, pop with Kieran, set up Garunic, set up Onyx, get your follow-up, and they can't kill you. Underworld Goddess, this was the flex spot of the deck. You can really play anything you want. It could be Almirage, it could be Anima, it could be anything really. I chose this because if you play against a matchup where they have a towers like monster or just something you can't out, this just gives you that utility to always be able to out an unoutable situation. We played 1 copy of Appaloosa, beautiful Starlight rare. Didn't come up much, but it generally comes up when you go for your combo with the IP and the Flamebird Dragon. 1 access code and 1 Selene for the OTK lines. Selene's actually pretty good as well if you just want to recur back your copy of Black Witch in the graveyard to get your combo going on follow-up turns. So that was another thing there. 1 Heat Soul. I made this a few times to draw 1 with IP as well, so that was nice. So draw an extra 2 cards to help find your hand traps. 1 Nightmare Unicorn. Again, didn't come up a whole lot, but it's in theory it's pretty good as well. Just to sometimes you need this instead of IP, so you can actually go for game and clear it. I actually used this to clear a Kieran in one of my matchups, and then because it wasn't IP, I'm able to go for game. 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix. It's a fire. It's an easy link to access, and it clears back row. Enough said. Additionally, it's one of your outs to like a skill drain or whatever. Maybe your opponent has something like an imperm there, where you can clear a back row. They can chain the imperm, and you can chain Kieran. You still get the destruction. 2 Little Knights, which I know is kind of expensive and prices some people out. You don't have to use 2 of these. You can definitely find other cards. But there's a lot of flex spots, especially if I'm not playing the Garunics. So I had the room, which was nice, and I just decided to play a 2nd Little Knight. It did come up as well for the grinds. Also, 1 IP Masquerena, just for your end combo with the Snake Eyes, and sometimes you just go for it anyways. And it also helps you play around stuff like evenly matched as well with SP Little Knight. 1 Sunlight Wolf. You're playing a generic fire deck. It helps recur your resources as well, and it's also part of your Cybers package for your Heat Soul line. 1 Fire Charmer. You're playing a fire deck. It's great because, well, I mean, for me it was excellent because I played a lot of mirror matches, but in theory everyone's playing at least Ash Blossom, so you should always have a target. Dark Charmer. Everyone's playing Darks, so yeah, easy to make. And additionally, D Bellstars is Dark, so in Sinful Spores mirror matches you can take their Black Witch, use it to search your card and send it to the graveyard so you get no loss. And then finally, Link Reaper for converting your Link 1s into whatever you need. Also part of your Heat Soul package. So yeah, that's it for the extra deck. I feel it's pretty standard, except for that Underworld Goddess, but that's just personal preference. For the side deck. Side deck, a lot more hand traps. Side deck, 3 copies of Nibiru. Not really much to say. Nibiru just comes in against the combo matchups. It's great in fire mirror matches. It was good in the Sprite matchup. I actually drew it as part of the Heat Soul line, so I had multiple hand traps with it. 3 Bell. I don't think I put this in much, or I don't think I really saw it, but in theory, it's here for fire matchups, Labyrinth, Runic, and any other graveyard variant deck. I think I actually, yeah, I did put it in versus Sprite matchup because he was playing Adventure Package as well, and this is like another pseudo Ash Blossom for the Water Enchantress. 3 copies of Droll. Came up once or twice, I think, against the Sprite player in the finals. But in theory, it's for like all the fire matchups, and then any other matchups where it just shuts them down. It should be pretty good post because of the silent forces. And then 3 Cosmic Cyclone for back row matchups, and like Runic. It's also good versus Centurion as well, because you clear their field spell and then the deck does nothing. And then 3 copies of Anti-Spell for going first, in case you need to clear or just flood your opponent out of the game so they can't beat you. And that's it for the deck profile. Thank you for watching. Any questions or comments, let me know. Let me know down below. And if you're not already, like the video and remember to subscribe. I'm Yugioh, signing out. Bye.